Hello my friends around the world. This is my third series of my cooking channel. And today we're going to make some crazy bread. Bread that you can use for pizza crust, or you can use for making sandwiches, or whatever you want to make with it. Basically, I take everything that I have left over from the night before or a couple nights before, it doesn't matter. I muscle test to see if it's still healthy, of course. Anything that I don't want to eat, I take. So right now I'm taking this stew that we made a huge pot of stew, and this stew has potatoes, it has cabbage, it has some meat, it has some probably tomatoes, it has what else? Carrots. Pretty much everything here. If it tasted good as stew, it's going to taste even better in bread. So I take anything. If I made a big thing of curry, I take that curry and I put that curry in my bread. If I made a big rice pilaf and I have a bunch of rice and other stuff with the rice left over, I use that in my bread. So, first thing I'm going to do, I muscle tested on these fresh eggs. How many eggs I need to use for this. My body keeps saying 4 eggs. So I'm going to make a lot of dough so I can use it for a couple days, because that's usually 1 or 2 eggs is all I use. So I got a blender here. I'm going to start with blending the egg, because I'm going to mix the egg with the stew that I have here to start that up. And some of the other things I'm going to use in my bread is this corn flour. It was a corn tacos mixed stuff. I can't read the Japanese recipe. It said hard type tacos, basically corn flour. And I'm using regular flour. I muscle tested when I was at the store, and this is what my body wanted today. So I got regular flour. I'm also using some black sesame, ground black sesame. I'm using some great garlic salt that my friend from Italy brought for me. I can't read it, it's all in Italian. But I muscle tested this is what my body wants today. I'm using some olive oil today. Every day I use a different kind of oil, because I have a ton of different types of oil, and my body says use olive oil today. So I muscle tested for that. If you're wondering what type of muscle test I usually like using the falling log method, which is push down. My name is Tim. That's obviously a yes question, or a yes statement. So my body is really strong on that. If I say my name is Bob, it goes down. So that's a muscle test, and you can train your body to do. And you can ask yourself, is this good for me today to put in my bread? And I just test like that, and it's a strong muscle test. It's yes. If my body doesn't want that, it's going to go weak. That's just how applied kinesiology works. There's a bunch of other muscle tests. If you're working on someone else, you can push down on their arm. There's the ring and ring method. You can say, my name is Tim, my name is Tim. It's real strong. It won't come apart. My name is Bob. It just comes right apart. So there's a bunch of muscle testing. I like to do the falling log, because that's the easiest one for me. I also I'm using today some wheat germ. I'm using some natural ground sugar, that's brown whole grain sugar. And that's pretty much it. For some reason I keep testing all my spices, and for the last few days my body wanted mustard seed. I don't know why, so I'm going to throw some mustard seed in there. That's what my body wanted. Did I say also I'm using a little bit of dry yeast? Some dry baker's yeast. Someday I'll use baking powder, some days I'll use, but I usually test for it. My body didn't want any baking powder today, or didn't want any baking soda, so this is what I'm using. So, just to give some liquid, usually I'll mix some soy milk or some other liquid in this, but my body says just use the egg for the liquid. Today I don't need any other liquid. So I'm taking this whole stew that I have left, and I'm just throwing it in the blender. If it's curry where there's not a lot of large stuff, I'll just mix it. I don't need to blend it. But this has a lot of solid stuff, and I don't want a big solid piece of carrot or potato in my bread. So I just throw this all in my, hopefully I won't spill this all over, in my blender. And if it's too solid, this has got a lot of liquid in it, so I don't need to add anything liquid to it. Sometimes it's too solid. And I'll probably mix some of the bread in here, because I got all this juice in here, so I'll just keep that, and I'll mix the bread in there when I'm starting to mix it. My body said to use 4 eggs on this one, so I'm going to put the eggs right in here and mix it together to give it more liquid, blend better. 1 egg. Throw my egg over here. 2 eggs. I'm gonna muscle test again because 4 eggs seems like a lot, but I tried 4 or 5 times, and every time my body says 1, 2, 3. No, it's always strong on 4, so I use 4 eggs. Okay. So I'm using 4 eggs. My wife just showed up, so I might ask her in the middle of this where my baking pan went if she wants to be on the video, but she's shy. She doesn't want to be on the video. Okay, that's 4 eggs. If I lose track of count, I don't care. I don't use any measuring on any of these things. I just throw in and I feel what feels good. How much everything I use. I just feel it out. So I'm not going to measure any of this stuff. If I put a lot of it in there, I'll just muscle test if I need to use more or less. That's what I'll do, or just fill it out. Okay. Everything is being blended. Meat, potatoes, carrots, it's all going to be my bread. I think it was chicken breast. You couldn't hear that, but I think there was some chicken breast in there too. So the chicken breast, no bones, of course. Well, who knows? I'll blend bones too sometimes and put that in my bread. Okay, so this stew is just going to give my bread a lot of flavor. Okay, and it's not. I don't have to throw the stew away. I had it a couple days. The second day I put it on pasta because I didn't want to just have stew plain because it's kind of boring. Okay, so I'm just going to pour this all in the pot that I had because there's a lot of other juices from the stew in there. I might use some of this in here, so I'll keep this here for a while. Okay, let me just move this aside right now. Okay, so I got that. Now I'm going to throw all this flour and stuff in there. I got the eggs. I used as much eggs as I wanted, as my body said was good, so I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. I don't need the eggs anymore. Okay, so my body said use some of this flour, some of this flour. I'm just going to start with the corn flour because I'm going to use less probably corn flour than I'm going to use the other flour. So just put some corn flour. I don't measure anything, so I just go by what feels good. And then after I mix it, if it's not dry enough, I put a little more flour until it's dry that I can mix it with my hands later. Okay. That's probably enough corn flour, but I'm going to probably add some corn flour later. Oh, that felt really good, smacking my head over there. Makes good comedy for the video. Okay, some ground black sesame, which is really popular in Japan. I put this in everything. Black sesame is really good. I'm going to put about as much as I put of the corn flour. Okay, and my body says use some wheat germ, so I'm running out of my wheat germ. This is pretty much it. I have this little thing in here that keeps it from getting moist or drying out. So I'm just using all the rest of my wheat germ. If I had more, I'd probably use more, but I don't. Okay, so now I'm going to use, my body says a little sugar. Since I'm using dry yeast, it's usually good to use a little hot water with the dry yeast and to mix with the sugar. So I don't measure this, I'm just going to put how much I feel is good. A little sugar. My body said to use a little of that garlic salt, so I'm going to use that garlic salt later. I'll probably throw it on top of that stuff. After I get everything done, I usually put the salt at the end and flavor it. So this dry yeast was about 11 grams before. I think I used it on a couple bread loaves. Since I'm making a lot of bread this time, I'm going to use the rest of this package almost. Let me see. Is that enough? Okay, so I used only, I don't know how much of this, how many grams, because I use it on a couple other breads, but the amount I poured in there, I muscle test, that's enough. I don't need to put any more. My subconscious mind is giving me all the answers, and my subconscious mind knows exactly what to make, proportions of everything, because everything I follow my subconscious, when I follow my subconscious mind, it tastes so damn good. And people say, what did you do? How did you make this? I don't know. I just fly by the seat of my pants. Okay, so I'm going to put a little hot water. I don't want to boil the water because I've got a lot of things here on the pot. So I'm just going to put my hot water on super hot. Okay. our sinks here will pretty much have boiling water come out of it if we put it up on, I put it on 75 degrees. I'm not going to let it get that hot, of course. That's Celsius. That'll be burning the house down. But almost boiling it'll get up to if I do it long enough. Okay, that's getting pretty hot. Just get a little hot water in there to mix with the yeast.